All right, guys, there's your little house tour. Now let's go ahead and dive into exactly how I built this from start to finish, starting now. All right, step one is going to be to remove the back seats so that we can use this space for a little bit extra storage. All right, I don't know how well you guys can see, but basically there's just two little latches on the bottom middle of each of these side seats. So if you just pull those out towards yourself and then lift up, this guy should just pop right out. The freaking seatbelt sensors are hooked up, so just gotta unclip these guys. And there's two. All right, we should be good. These guys should just pop right out. Boom. Nice. Step one complete. Let's go. Next step is going to be to remove the backrests. The first thing that you have to do with these, just want to lift this, and then there's a few little pins that you have to just pop out. I'm using a flathead. Just pop right out. There's one. And four. Now we can see this bolt. Two of them actually. Nice. All right. Now I think with those bolts out, that this little bracket, we can just slide this right out of it. Okay. Oh yeah, see, there's a little notch right here that lines up with the notch right there, so it had to be perfectly down in order to slide it out, but we got it. Now I'm assuming this is probably the same deal with that locking hinge. Oh, but there is one more bolt actually. So now I think it should just be the same thing. That slides out, just like so. Boom, baby. All right. Look at that. All that extra room for storage now. Let's go, dude. All right, now what I'm gonna do, just to set myself up for success here, is I'm just gonna put all these bolts back in where I got them, because they're not taking up any space. And that way, when I put the back seats back in eventually, I'll know right where everything goes. All right, well, there you have it for the seats. Back seats are gone. Relatively easy. There's one bolt that caused me some trouble, but everything else, super simple. And now we've got all this extra storage space. Nice. Okay, so for anyone that's wondering if they're doing this specifically for a Crosstrek, which I know not a lot of people do, but if you happen to be one of those people, this first main platform that's going to cover the entire back, both driver and passenger side, this one is 4 feet by 41 inches. This one is exactly 2 feet by 2 feet. So I'm going to throw this on one side, have it pop down to give me some more sleeping room when the passenger side is all the way pushed up, and then this one will just stay the way it is. Not bad, not bad. Oof. Never a good sound. Oh, look at that. Now that the platform is built, it's time to raise it by a couple of inches for a couple of reasons. First of which being the front of the car, specifically where that head platform rests on the center console, is a few inches taller than the back of the car. So if we were to just throw in the platform as is, it would be slanted and the head would angle up quite a bit. So we want to level that out and get it as close to flat as possible. Second reason being, initially at least, was to fit my table and my grill underneath the platform so that I could use that as storage. However, when I did raise it enough to actually fit both of those things, the head platform and the piano hinge no longer were able to fold up without hitting the ceiling, so I had to take my first set of legs, get rid of them, just to raise it enough to make it level. So that might be the move. I think we're going to ditch the whole leg idea, which means I probably can't bring the table with me, which is kind of unfortunate, but we'll get a smaller one and put it up in the cargo box. And we're going to have built-in tables, so I'm not too worried about it. Still kind of sucks, though. Now the next step is to create a shelf to go where my back seats used to be to give me some more storage. Now I will say this one that I just cut out was not the final product. I did extend it to make it even longer than the actual platform itself. That way I can throw in storage bins and such and just have an easier time sliding them out. Okay, so we made the bottom for this shelf. The problem is it's supposed to rest on these hinges that we're holding in the seat. But you can't really see. But in the middle, there's just a metal angled piece that it's hitting before these hinges just slightly. So that's a problem. I gotta figure out how to raise these up a tiny bit so it rests on those instead of that middle, because it's also pinching that wire that's back there. After cutting a slightly larger piece of wood to use for the bottom of the shelf, I decided to attach 2 little feet on either side where the actual black hinges rest, so that it'll sit on those instead of that sloped metal piece in the middle. The feet worked perfectly and raised it just enough to where they rested where I wanted them to, and if you're wondering why there's a screw sticking up, it's because the next step is to add the actual walls onto this shelf, 1 to keep all the gear in, and 2 to act as a support for the actual platform. Alright, we have a shelf, ladies and gentlemen. The shelf is nice and sturdy. And very good start. So I was originally planning on building a shelf out of wood for the back for my clothes and stuff, but then I found this little modular cube storage setup. These were on Amazon. Figured I'd order them, try them out. They're 11 inches by 11 inches, so I'm hoping I can maybe stack 2 by 2 and get 4 cubes for my clothes. But we'll see if that works the way I'm thinking or not. Okay, so I tried putting these in tallways first, and I wasn't able to, but I was able to put it in sideways, and I'm thinking that I can just build out the tops, the second row, while it's inside the car. And then if I do need to take it out, it's relatively easy to just unclip those and slide it out. So I'm not too worried about that. So far, so good. We got our dresser in here, looking good. And then I'll show you guys actually over here again. Not only do we have a dresser, but we've also got a little hat hanger. And then of course, we've got the shelf, which I don't know if I recorded this or not, but I did drill these in today so that this doesn't shift off at all. So we are looking good, my friends. This is luxury living right here. All right, guys, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise up our fridge enough to where we can fit our grill underneath and store that and hopefully like a propane bottle or two. So we got to cut out some legs to raise this thing, and then we'll just kind of put 2 walls here to keep it in place, but I don't think we need to put it around the entire thing. The main reason being there's a ton of venting along here, and then this entire side is venting and it needs to be open. So I'm going to avoid putting walls on those 2 sides if possible. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's get going. Let's see if we're as good as we think we are here. Okay, so it's pretty much going to be sticking out that far. Fridge still opens plenty. The real question is, will this door shut? Answer is yes. That's freaking awesome, dude. I'm not sure if that table is going to be a thing. So I think that is cutting it a little bit too close. We're not going to be able to fit a table on there. Like a glove. Let's go, dude. Alright guys, our little kickstand hinges for the table just came in. So that's going to be our next step, is cutting down that piece of wood just a little bit more, attaching the kickstand hinge, and throwing that bad boy on that little cooler box. So should be pretty sweet. Let's do it. All right, this is our table. The idea was to leave a frame right here, but I didn't necessarily have the right tools, so I kind of had to wing it, and we ended up just cutting off the whole thing. We might honestly have to shrink the table just to go here, to not risk losing any of that support. Nice. Let's go, baby. All right, guys, so I have the cable for my fridge just running down under behind my shelf, and then it just runs into my jackery up here. And it was off until a second ago, so it's pulling about 60 watts right now.